Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Zephyr. I am just about to start checking out whether Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Okay, we are live on Instagram. Let's go live. Fantastic. LinkedIn, live as well. Facebook, live. Amazing. It's been such a long time since I've been live on Facebook. I've been missing this, to be honest with you guys. Let's jump into today's topic. I might or might not be able to see all the different comments, but I'll try to do that. It's a bit of a little tech jumble up over here with different screens and so on, but everything working fine, thankfully. So how do we deal with haters? I remember the time that a friend approached me, and as we were walking through one of the most expensive shopping districts in Singapore, and we were walking to a bookstore because we were both geeks like that. I don't want to mention his name because we're still good friends, but we used to be in a band together, and before that we were in LaSalle College of the Arts together. And so he mentioned to me, he said, he was just looking at me. He told me that I was one of his, not idols, but somebody that he looked up to because I was a few years older. And he said, just looking, kind of like a son looks at a dad. And he just, after a while, shuffling his feet. And then he looks up at me and he goes, as I was looking through the music biography section, he was like, how do you deal with haters? Because he just had a song that had come out, right? And I looked at him and I was like, I don't deal with haters, because honestly, who's got the time for that shit? Like, think about it like this. There's this topic I could go really deep into, and I can give you a lot of examples about haters. And for those of you who are on my channels for the first time and you're wondering why is this guy talking about this topic, I happen to be a spiritual life coach, and I'm releasing a few courses on different things, from getting your mindset and success habits right to your body and having a good lean body and an energetic one, being spiritually tuned, being certified in different spiritual stuff and so on, and also eventually how to come out there as a recording artist when you were actually tone deaf 8 years ago, or at least I was. So anyway, my point is this: haters are gonna arrive at different parts of our life for different things. So I looked at him and I said, well, I just basically don't deal with the haters. I'm just going to move back a little bit for Instagram. Okay, that should be better. So I said, I just don't deal with haters. And he was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, you're feeling it because you released a song on Facebook and you sponsored it, sort of a music video. And then there were comments. And I remember one of the comments was like, please stop making music. I read that on his video. And I'm laughing because we've all received comments like that throughout the years. And well, the thing is, human beings have mouths, just like I have one right now, and I'm talking. And anybody can say anything they want to say to you online, but that doesn't mean that you stop from your pursuits and your endeavors. That would just be a little crazy, because we all have gifts inside us. And that's why my upcoming course is actually called Expressing Your Gifts, because there are many people, sadly, who shut down their gifts when actually they meant to express them because of a few people hating on them. I'll give you another example, and then I'll explain to you another example about why you might be looking at this room, if you're looking on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, and going, why the fuck is this room so messy? Well, in that scenario, my friends, you're being haters, and I'm going to break all that down. So I'll give you another example. Recently, in line with my upcoming course, I had posted a few shorts a few months ago on YouTube, and one of them says success tip number 6: ask, right? And it explains, gives you the example of, and I'll just give it to you now. When you walk into a shopping mall and you don't know where a particular shop is, and some of you will go like where's that shop exactly, right? Because you don't know where it is. But have you ever thought of just walking into the shop in front of you and just asking the person who works there? Because if they work there for a year and a half, that's about 500 days. And if they went there every day in the last 500 days and you went there once, honestly, they have 500 times more experience than you do about that mall. So if they went into that mall 500 more times, they know 500 times more than you do. So why not use their experience about the mall to just tell you where your shop is, so you can get your ass to the shop ASAP instead of wasting time? But a lot of us will not do that, right? And a lot of us will like shy away from it. And a lot of us will just not, some of us don't even think about this. There's some of us who go like, oh, no, I'm shy to ask. Fine, you're shy to ask. That's cool. But some of you haven't even thought about it. So that's kind of, well, I could say it's dumb, but let's just say you're new to the concept of asking, and that's fine. So use that success tip as you like. But my friend goes there and comments, and my friend goes, introverts also succeed in life, you know. I was like, okay, the post isn't about introverts or extroverts. It's just a success tip. Feel free to use it. It's a short. And so I replied back, and she's my actual friend, and she could have just WhatsApped me, but she commented there, which always makes me really wonder, why would somebody do that? But then I realized why we do that. We do that on each other's posts as well, on people, you know, we all do it because we want in that moment to show that we are wise. And that's fine, because that wisdom can help anybody. So please do it, and that's wonderful. And so from that place of empathy, I didn't like fight with her or anything. I just said, you're right. And I myself am an introvert. And yes, you're right. We have other ways of doing things. This is just a success tip. And the entire spectrum of how introverts, extroverts, and everyone else behaves is obviously beyond the scope of a 59-second short. Like, come on. Right? So we have to go deep in the comments if we want to. And so I told her that being an extrovert, that's just a label, firstly. Sometimes it's a way of being now because we've been traumatized in our past. And I know that, and I think many introverts and even extroverts do. Sometimes people are overly extroverted for no reason. But really, in line with success and the success tip, do you actually want to just label yourself going, I'm an introvert, I do it like that, I do it like that? Or is that just a badge of honor that's been fueled and sewn into your skin by trauma, and now you're like, no, I cannot ask the shopkeeper in front of me. I have to go find it myself. And so I told her in the comments, even typing into the internet is a form of asking. You are asking. You're not just sitting there and going, I wonder where the shop is. Now, only a kid would do that, right? Adults would start looking around. Whether it's at your phone because you're an introvert, or the person in front of you and you're like, hey, where's that shop, right? Now, for those of you wondering why this room is so messy, right? It's not my room, first of all. This is a house we're staying in for the time being till we get our own house because of a law in Singapore. A hater might say that, right? You might just be wondering, and that's cool. But somebody might share it with a friend and go, hey, look at this guy from high school. He thinks that he's now going to coach other people. Well, firstly, not knowing that I have been coaching people for 15 years, but let's say they don't know. And they're like, oh, he thinks he's a professional YouTuber. These are very normal comments that we have in the YouTube community, and we all share these with each other. And they might look at the room and go, that doesn't look professional, whatever. I don't give two fucks about your opinion about the state of the room, because I know that what I'm saying is actually helping the correct audience who needs the help. Do you think Michael Jordan gives a shit when he's playing basketball and another basketballer is going, yeah, I think his shorts are too baggy because his legs are too thin now from all that endurance training? He doesn't give a fuck, right? Why? Because he's doing what he needs to do. So really, when we say, how do you deal with haters, and that question that came to me from my friend, the thing is that, hi Harshal, the thing is that a hater is just a human being, right? Who's just expressing an opinion. They aren't even actually a hater. We shouldn't even call them haters. I think that's a stupid term. That's as stupid as calling someone an introvert or an extrovert, which changes every day based on everyone's moods. Generally, it might be in the same area, but it can change, right? If you heal your trauma, it will change. If you're introspective because you've gone through a period of spiritual healing, it will change, right? It's always changing. So, first of all, the term is nonsense. And secondly, even if they are being hateful in that moment, how you deal with it is asking yourself, one of the ways is, how did I make this about me? Because a mature person would look at somebody else's behavior and ask, what are they feeling, right? to display that kind of behavior. That's their behavior, not yours. But we automatically make it about our self-worth, and then the finger pointing starts. Oh, I've made it about my self-worth, so now I'm hurt, so therefore they're a hater, right? And now we label someone as a hater, just like people label people as narcissists. I get really sad about this because these people must have been hurt so much in life that they've gone and labeled an entire human being who has a range of emotions and behaviors as a narcissist. When all humans, me and you included, display narcissistic behavior in different moments. What does that even mean? This person is a narcissist. This person is a racist. What? I don't even know at this point if that's correct grammar. Like, in this moment, this person displayed some prejudice towards a certain race because of everything in their life that has led to that moment. Because let's face it, as a baby, you were born pure, right? And in that moment, they displayed some prejudice towards a race of people. Okay, yeah, it's human nature. It's fine. Labeling their entire life or your entire perception about them, firstly, it's unfair to them. But again, because we're discussing behavior, let's say that's not their behavior that you're labeling them, it's your behavior. So what is it inside you that is so hurt that is making you label somebody else as a name rather than a human or a soul, right? And once you start thinking on that level, you very quickly realize that, hey, actually everything's hunky-dory and you didn't actually need to label them, or you didn't actually need to make it about you when someone's throwing hurt at you. And one of the lines that Vishen taught me in Mind Valley when I did one of his courses was that hurt people hurt people. And it's very normal. Like today, for example, I hurt my wife by wearing shoes, which I didn't want to take out because I got this hand injury. And each time I do the laces, my hand, it hurts. And I walked back to my desk to put back this microphone, which my daughter had touched, and I had to clean it and I had to make sure it was clean so I could use it for my work, right? And I walked around the house with shoes, and my wife was like, "The fuck are you doing? I just mopped everything." And I shouted back at her. I was like, "That's not important. Making 10 grand a month is more important, or making 20 grand." And as I was walking in the park, I realized, oh, I shouldn't have, just should have told her that my hand was hurt. So I called her up and said, "I'm sorry." And then she was like, "Oh, it's fine." And I was like, "But I can't take it when you do that." And so we had a very nice discussion, and so on and so forth. So when you look at it from the point of view of it's just another human being, right? So there's two things. You deal with your hurt, and then you also deal with the fact that it's another human being. Dealing with your hurt, there's multiple ways to transmute that, be in nature, exercise, meditate, and obviously just have a mature mindset. And I cover all these things in my upcoming course, Expressing Your Gifts. And the other thing is dealing with them as a separate human being. And so that part is really about showing empathy and really showing your love for different people in the human race. I'm just checking in case there are any comments or questions anywhere on the different platforms. Hi, Swapnil. So it's really about that, about making space for the other human being. And I'm releasing a series of about 500 quotes. You can check them out on Instagram and Facebook and other places. And the first one in this list is you can hold a light for yourself and anyone else as long as you choose to. So are you holding the light for the other person? So nowadays when haters say anything, and I've done this for a long time in the music scene, because after a while I realized, hey, fuck, I can release music and I release good music. Like, I don't care what any individual human says about that music, because major music platforms have gone, including Apple Music, have gone, this is good music. And I'm not saying I'm making music for them to go, this is good music, but getting an opinion from an expert helps, right? So if one day somebody buys over Apple and Spotify and every major music streaming service and they go, hey, this song sucks, bro, I'll pay attention to them. But from where I'm concerned, If I'm releasing a track on a whim, which I was, and then it gets featured on Apple Music, I know I've got something there. That's just, it's undeniable at this point. And just like that, you have things that are undeniable because this coaching session's for you, not for me. So if you're wondering about how to deal with haters and you have any confirmation from anywhere, including your own soul, that hey, what I did was actually great, and now you have, and you're at peace with it, right? It doesn't matter how many other people like it or not, and you go to bed happy that what you did was great. It doesn't really matter what anybody else says, because if you're happy with what you're doing on a daily basis, that right there is success. And in my course, Expressing Your Gifts, I teach about success. That right there is pure success. If you can walk around with a smile on your face for what you did, that's success. Now, if that's behavior that we're talking about, as you grow, that behavior would change in the same scenario and you would do it differently 5 years from now, maybe. And that's fine too. And that's success as well. And you're not going to look back on the 5 years ago behavior and go, that wasn't success. No, it still was, because that's where you were as a human being and a soul, right? So 10 years ago, I was making music. Well, I really enjoyed it, but also because I thought I had to make it in the music industry quickly. And the way to get there was to release music, right? Rather than just play at a bar. And you can ask anyone in the music scene in Singapore who knows me, and they'll tell you I said that like to everybody, right? Now, I think releasing good music or making it in music is releasing music that I'm happy releasing, and for the last 4 or 5 years. And along the way, I've felt a larger and larger and larger pull towards the notion of releasing music that benefits other people. That's not to say I didn't have that feeling 10 years ago. I did, but it goes in different combinations, like a chemical potion, right? So the ingredient list changes and the amount that goes into your creation changes. And so I believe there will come a point where my work in the music space, it might not even be releasing songs anymore. It'll just be putting communities together. I'm not quite there yet. I'll just be honest with you. We all have our fears, and I'm just like, how am I gonna lead? Like, although I have a music group on Facebook, which is about 6,000 people, it's called Singapore Music. It's the largest music group for Singaporean musicians. You can join up. Apologize. It's 2 a.m. But I'm thinking at some point I might go like, let's run events, right? Let's do this, let's do that, like I used to do when I was in arts college. And that would be my involvement in the music world. And I believe if Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley had not died or killed themselves with drugs and all these other traumas that they had, even they would go that way. I think all humans go that way. If you're above 30 or even 20, you know what I'm talking about. You've tried to do some form of community building, whether it's coaching, whether it's organizing events or praying at the church or going to church or teaching your kids to go to church, whatever, telling more people about how, Christ consciousness or Jesus energy is great, or Shiva is nice, or Guan Yin's a great goddess, or on the religious and spiritual front. It could be about just being a good boss at work. It could be about just being a good student in school and helping other kids out with their homework and so on and so forth. So at some point, when your work gets so divine, and I'm not exactly going off topic here, but I feel is the truth, is that when your work gets so divine, at some point, you don't really worry about haters anymore. Like at this point, I can't give two fucks about what anybody says about anything anymore. At all. Except unless it's about their feelings. So if somebody says like, oh, this guy, is just some fucking idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, okay. That doesn't change my mood one bit. I don't move here, nor here, nor here, nor here. Nothing is shaken. It's still zen. Like a glass of full water. It's not moving. The only time things move is when somebody tells me, I thought what you said was nonsense because it shook me to my core and I got hurt by what you said. Okay, now, and again, I'm not like demotivated because they said what I said sucked, because they've just told me that they got hurt. That's where the shit is coming from. So we go deep into their hurt, and if I can, and I solve that for them. So a simple to understand example would be if your husband or your wife says, I was really hurt by what you did. What the fuck? And you go, I'm so sorry you were hurt. Like, how did I hurt you? And how can I make it better? That doesn't mean you're a worse person for hurting them. And therefore, they're not a hater. And therefore, and even aside from that, your confidence does not shake whatsoever. So if you are going to adopt a success mindset, and by the way, if you're going to be coming into my course, which is going to be launching soon, Expressing Your Gifts, I'll need you to adopt a slightly higher level of thinking, and I'll teach you how to, if you don't already do it. Then how do you deal with haters? And I'll take you back to the first line of this video, which is when people say, how do you deal with haters? My answer is, I don't. Because there's really no point. And nobody's actually a hater. That's the second answer. And the third answer is, what are you doing to make this about yourself, right? Why are you having to deal with haters? Why are their words hurting you that much if they're not true? And if they are true, then go do something about the standard of your work. And that's how you deal with them. You take positive feedback or constructive feedback. If there's nothing wrong with your work, right? Like I remember when I once made this song, every single chick I let hear that song, I don't know if that's correct English, but it's 2 a.m. And every single girl I played that song to was like shaking her hips and smiling. Every single guy I played that song to in person was like, wow, you made that? I was like, yeah, I made that. And they were like, oh, that's cool. It's like, yeah, that's cool. But then there's this whole community of people online who were trying to get my attention. They couldn't even manage a phone call. And that's what these people do sometimes. And, or people in general, humans do. And they were like, when I met one of them later on, I was like, bro, this song just sucks. I was like, well, thanks for your opinion, but everyone I played it to was dancing, and that was the point of it. It's a dance number. It's to dance, because I used to be in dance before I was in music. So I think from a dance perspective, like most of the time, unless I'm really emo or whatever. I like it, they like it. I mean, I just, how does that make it a bad song? You know, it was also in the newspapers, so like, must be something good about it, right? You know, and so I cannot imagine any circumstance under which I would have to deal with a hater unless he's actually interrupting my work, which in a physical setting, you can just call your bodyguards or the security or the cops. And in a non-physical setting, which is probably over the internet or something, why would you even care? There's like 8 billion humans on Earth. If one day 6 billion of them see your face in a newspaper and it spreads like crazy. I'm just giving an example here, right? Like if I look at my face now for the first time, and I'm looking into the StreamYard screen, I'm going to be like, yo, what's up with this guy's forehead? It's so fucking big. Look, it's like the size of his face. And I remember when I was young, my forehead could barely be seen because I had so much hair and I used to style it this way and that way. And my grandma used to tell me, I like people with big foreheads. They look more handsome. Obviously, she didn't mean bald, I think. But if I were to look at my head now, I'd be like, dude, this guy has a big forehead. It's so funny. I might like draw an egg or some shit here. I don't know, whatever. And that could spread like wildfire on social media. And it'll die down in 2 days. Are you really going to sit there and deal with that? Like who deals with that? I don't know. I don't think I have the time because I'm doing so much valuable work. I have so many people to love in my life. I mean, so many people who love me back that there's no time for that shit, right? So if you're in a place where you're still dealing with haters, and I can understand because I was there before, it's a phase, not a phase, but it's a stage. You're going to grow past that stage eventually when you come to the point where you will not be dealing with haters anymore. There's nothing to deal there. There's nothing to spend your valuable energy on in terms of dealing with haters. So I urge you to try and look at it rationally and logically. And if you still can't because you're still angry, then there's probably some emotional work, some spiritual work, and some maturing that needs to be done there. So go find your own methods. I was about to say something lame. I was about to say find crystals. You can, they help sometimes. But yeah, take your time and work through that with a therapist. You can reach out to me if you like, or any therapist in your area, any healer, any coach, anything that's suitable for you. Buy a book, whatever, right? And deal with that stuff, and eventually realize that that's just a human being not having a very good day. Because I've never really actually myself, and I've had amazing days, and that's why I now coach on it. I've never actually walked around going, yo, that sucks. I've never ever done that unless somebody screwed up my food, which I put a priority on. So, because food runs in my family. So, like, if I'm going to a restaurant and paying $50, that food better be damn good, right? And if it's not, I'm going to tell you. That's all. I'm not going to, like, hate on you or anything, but I'm going to tell you. So, like, eventually you'll get to a point where there's nothing to hate on. And so if these people are hating on things, they're probably living very pained lives. Like, oh my God, I can't even fathom that vibration, because I've never been there, actually. I've never actually denounced anybody's work, ever. I have at most commented on their skills if they've asked for it, or if they're being a pain in the ass. Like, we once had a girl who used to live above us who really couldn't sing. I couldn't sing either because I was just playing drums at the time and I was tone deaf, but she really couldn't sing. And I could hear that because I was at a music school with people who sang every day, and musical theater, and around these people, and all through the halls you hear singing. So you know what, and I grew up listening to Michael Jackson, so I know what on-pitch singing sounds like. And she just couldn't. And it wasn't even the pitch, she just sounded like she was croaking. But I didn't hate on her or send her any negative feedback or nothing of the sort. And most, I might have looked at my wife and gone, wow, she really can't sing. But I'm sure I included the word yet, because I know that's something you can train, because I was training it too. But I've never actually gone to a person and gone, you suck. Like, what? I don't even know what that means. Like, why would you, if you love humans and you love nature and you love humanity, you just don't go around doing things like that. And when I say don't go around, I don't mean you hold yourself back, because if you hold yourself back, that means you're actually having the intention to do it. What I'm saying is, I've never even had the intention, so I don't even get people who do that. But yeah, there might be. Did somebody type something there? Oh, sorry, I can't really see that. But you know, yeah, that's my summary to dealing with haters. Like, remember that they're humans and they have some maturing to do, and you probably have some maturing to do as well, and that will go a long, long way in your development. So take care and have a great 2nd of May. And this was my midnight stream for 2nd of May. I gotta stop doing these at midnight. But I was just too busy building out my new course for you guys, which is gonna be available on my website hopefully soon. I got about 30 lessons to record, so it's a deep, deep course about succeeding in life. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you on the next one. I love you guys.